In 1971, when I left Lenana School, after Form 6, I was an affirmed artist. I'd just been commissioned to do the painting of the Lenana that I born. I'd won several national awards for theater. I was in the school band. But when I came out into the world, I had no idea there was such a career as advertising. So when, by some divine movement, I found myself in advertising, it completely changed my life. I discovered that I could use this creative passion that I had in me, in film, in television, and radio. And I took on my career with gusto. Ogilvy and Mather was my first employer. They paid me 2,500 shillings per month. Don't laugh. A beer those days was only 10 shillings. So I was doing well. Very quickly, though, I bought my first car, a clapped-up, rally-prepared Ford Escort, KJF 372. She was white, with a black line down the side. Round the gearbox was a hole about this big. My boss used to say that was my stopping mechanism. I'd stick my foot in it and stop the car. But hey, who cares? I was doing well. My life was moving on. So when I met the first love of my life, it seemed like a natural progression. I had a car, I had a job. I met her at my sister's wedding. She was cute like a doll. She was kind of sweet. She was fair. You guys call it rangi athao. She had these great lips when she smiled, and she had hips too. And when she walked, you know, ule mwendo wa kutoa nyoka pangoni. I was floored. Done. So at 23, and she was only 19, a little reckless, a little careless, I made her pregnant. My father, who's an Anglican pastor, said to me, son, you don't have to marry her. But I was stubborn. I thought that the honorable thing to do was to give this woman a home. So, unprepared, naive, immature, I was headed for this wedding. Now, the arrangements happened very quickly. The dowry was set. Everything was done. We were headed to marriage. 3 days before the wedding, my father went into hospital. He needed an urgent operation. So he wasn't going to come to the wedding. The night before my wedding, I felt strangely ill. But my best man and I decided I had to make it to this wedding. And we did. It was a good day. At the end of the wedding, I decided the honorable thing to do for my father was to take him my new bride, all in white, and a piece of cake, so he could feel like he was part of this wedding. I never forget the look on his face as I was leaving. It's the kind of look that said, this is not what I had in mind for you. You're making a mistake. But hey, I was in it. And so, 2 beautiful girls later, 3 years down the road, our relationship wasn't the same. The cracks that I feared began to appear. Our conversations became arguments. But I felt that the honorable thing to do is love perseveres. So I persevered. I got our parents to meet and discuss any possible issues that maybe could be sorted out. But amidst a lot of sinister stuff that was going on in my house, some crazy things happening, our arguments turned into fights. It was an ugly situation. And I decided I didn't want to be part of this situation. I had to be out of the situation. But it pained me because I loved my two girls. And so on the material day that I decided to make this move, it was a morning I usually drop my kids to school. They were only kids going to kindergarten then. They had no idea this was going to happen. And so as I dropped them down to school, I had a really, really heavy heart. And as they walked out of the car, I knew I wasn't going to pick them up. They had no idea that I wasn't going to be there for them, even that night. And so with a heavy heart, I drove back home because there was nobody at home at that time, picked up my stuff, and I drove out. The exhaustion of the things that were going on in my life at that time. I was mad. I was angry. My heart was broken because of this broken relationship. And I was mad. And as I drove away, I rolled up my windows. And unlike a man, I cried. I cried like a baby for my girls. For 45 minutes, I was going off to my first destination, which at that time was a country club. I got there around 12 o'clock, dried my tears, had a bit of lunch, and decided to take a nap. I was woken up by knocking on the door and banging on the windows, apparently 30 hours later, by the hotel, because they were now worried about me and what had happened to me. Folks, nothing ever prepares you for the devastation of a divorce. The scars, the collateral damage that just lingers on for life. Your friends, even your best married friends, some of them, you lose them because apparently it seems like you have some sort of infectious disease. Your folks, your family, some of them a bit shy in those days, a bit shy that you'd really let them down. And so for 6 months, up to 6, 7, 8 months after that, I decided a time for solitude, a time to reflect and try to understand what it is that happened to me back then and how could I possibly find a way out. And so I read a lot of inspirational books. I did a bit of praying. I just spent time by myself trying to analyze and understand this situation. After about a year, I decided I was not going to allow this divorce to be a nightmare all my life. And I was going to shift focus. So I shift focus to my work, which was going well, the future, and a possible love, maybe. After all, I just learned some real tough lessons about parenthood, relationships. Maybe I'd learned something. But it didn't take long. I started to date a little bit cautiously. And one night, I went to see a friend, a buddy of mine. And as I opened the door, as he opened the door for me, in this sort of dim lit, we had a thing about romantic lights in those days. this dim lit house. In the corner, under a light, was this beautiful face. And he introduced me. And as she got up to greet me, I was stunned. This woman was beautiful. She wore a white dress, a sleeveless dress, with an Elvis Presley collar. She wore a thick 2-inch white belt, which accentuated her waistline and the shape of her body. She wore a skirt knee length, and she was really sculptured like a piece of art. My heart skipped a beat. And when she took my hand and shook it, it was firm and yet friendly. Luck was happening that day. My buddy was going to be away for 2 weeks, so he asked me to pop in and look after them because she was staying there with her sisters looking after this house. And I got to know this woman. She was caring, she was kind, she was fun, and she was creative. And we hit off a great friendship. She was finishing college at the time, so I'd be spending a lot of time out of the box every now and then. But some nights, I'd be creeping in at odd hours of the night to take her for a favorite milkshake and mkate mayai at Exotica. And so our relationship developed. After 2 years, we were just being great friends. I began to see nice, fresh qualities, a little like my mother. And I thought, this is the woman for me. And so if I love her, I better put a ring on it. And so I proposed. She accepted. I told my family about my intentions, and they went up in arms. But again, I was stubborn. Because after all, I'd matured a little bit now. I'd had some experience. And I knew a little bit about women. Eventually, we got married. And 30 years on, despite our different upbringings, despite our different challenges, our own weaknesses and our own strengths, we found God, we found our friendship and love with a spirit of kindness. My 3 beautiful children are a testimony to this. 2 beautiful girls, 1 handsome son, and a great son-in-law, and a spunky 2-year-old grandchild. My 2 daughters and I, by the way, from our first marriage, and I are great buddies. My first daughter has given me a 10-year-old grandson too. But what's love got to do with it? Sheila is half Irish, half Luhia, is not only a beautiful wife, but she is my best friend. If I was to do it again, would I choose her? Come on, guys. Definitely not. Thank you.